South Africa needs mining to be a national good.
We have the Freedom Charter backing us on wealth distribution. We have the Freedom Charter begging us to ensure that people benefit from the mineral resources which are in the state hands.
Investors are not coming into this country the way they used to, and that sends a clear signal that there's something structurally wrong with the industry, both in terms of its capacity to manage effective labor standards, its capacity to be competitive from a cost structure point of view and return on investment point of view, its capacity to retain transparency in terms of how licenses are issued and so on, and the governance of the industry itself, the regulatory environment around the industry is not sufficiently transparent, and its capacity to conduct this industry and mine the mineral resources of our country safely and in a healthy way. We have failed in all of those areas as an industry, and we need to fix that.
After 1994, we thought maybe things are going to change. But big shacks, more than Mangope, came into place. They were worse.
We need to take a long-term view, is that we need to think 20 years, or 30 years, or 40 years. If you look at the platinum deposits, there's 80-year lives of mine. We've got a chance now in South Africa to take a long-term view. And what I really want to warn again is that quick fixes will definitely fail. We've seen that they failed in the past and they will fail going forward, whether those quick fixes are driven by companies or by governments.
Where you have a healthy environment between mining operations as well as communities, you will see a wealth being generated, you will see smooth running of community and infrastructure development. I've seen this in Sweden, in an area called Kiruna, in the northern part of Sweden, where there was hardly no problem even when the mine said, we want to move the entire suburb because they are mining development. Only 3 families were objecting.
The decisions we take today will have a long-term impact on the future of our country over the next 100 years.
1976, when this Bound to Stand started, you remember it started first at the Transkei, and the second one was Bophuthatswana here. We were the victims because Northwest was part of Bophuthatswana. And Taung was one of the areas that was identified to be rich in diamond deposits. 1978, the then president of Bophuthatswana started digging in our land diamonds for himself and his family. You complain, you are dead. We knew when we see a military helicopter landing, then we know a big diamond is out. But we never benefited anything. Big machinery came into our land. There were Russians. People got excited. They wanted to fight. I told the people, when you fight, you will be faced with either the police or the military of this country. Let's take this matter to court.
It needs a whole business approach. It needs a whole government approach, and it needs a whole community approach. What South Africa needs are communities that can drive their own development. As long as communities are tearing themselves apart to secure the direct financial benefits from mining deals, there will be very little meaningful development. And so there's a great need for the government to provide the leadership to ensure that these internal battles are well contained and resolved effectively. We've got another 50, 80, 100 years of mining in this country, and we need to figure these things out now.
Whatever we do in terms of community development, it has to be host communities, it has to be labor ascending areas.
If communities could own cash flow, whether they were doing the gardening, whether they were doing the catering, whether they were doing the health service, the educational facilities of Anglo-Plat, I walk around and I look at them, they're empty. Lonman, they're empty. Nobody's using them. This is in a country which has got a massive crisis in skills, in education. Grow those entities as services into the community so that we use that as the basis, the core basis to create what we need to create in communities, which is long-term viable communities as competitive entities. If we can create a culture in our country of not just I want, but I am prepared to put this in. The architecture of the industry, social partners is fantastic in order to be able to create a fantastic social contract that can really deliver to communities. The only thing absent is the will to do it. We need to put the industry at the heart of the future of our country. It is the heart of the future of our country.